Did you think, Dad, that 40 years, J&J would be in business for 40 plus years?
I figured it'd have killed me by now. I was working for a company that did basically the same thing, and I had a little misunderstanding there, so I quit. Went on vacation. And so another guy that worked at the same company worked with me, and I told him I was going to go in business, and he said he'd be involved in it. So that's where the J and J come from. It was John and Joe, and in order not to put one name in front of the other, we went with J and J. So that would make it either one you wanted to put there. And that's basically how we got started.
I like to say he had all daughters with J's, and he was planning ahead. That's what I like to say.
And then we started out by getting a job that another guy had already started, and he had been on it for ages and couldn't complete the job. And the contractor that was doing the general contractor called the people out this other guy and I used to work for and asked if they knew anybody that could complete it. And they told them to get a hold of us. And so they did, and we went and completed the job. From there on, people found out about us, and we just kind of started getting calls. It just kind of grew and grew and grew. We finished that job that was messed up, and then we started bidding work, and we bid a little job over on Watson Road. It was a hand mine, jack pipe in place, and we went over there, and the two of us did the job. The job basically was digging the front out and hauling the material out of the pipe and pushing the pipe forward. It went out to the center of the highway to pick up a storm drain. I forget the name of that company's no longer in business that we did it for, but that was our first actual job that we bid. And we went on from there, bidding work. Once people found out we were capable of doing the work, we started getting calls on regular. Every time a job would come out, we'd get a call on it.
We got our first employee about a year later. Wasn't it about a year later?
Yeah, we hired actually a cousin of Joe's, my partner at the time, and he worked for the same outfit we both had worked for and come from, and he came to work for us, and it just kind of snowballed from there. We got work, and as we completed the jobs, and we started getting a reputation of being able to handle the very tough jobs and completing them and not causing the general contractors any headaches. It's kind of hard to go job to job. We just started getting jobs and headed down the road. Me and the other guy, Joe, we were the only employees. We didn't get paid. So we did that for a while. He borrowed money from his parents, and we took a second on the house, and that's what financed us when we first started. So
it's really hard to run the business and let them do the things they wanted to do. Like ball games and all that kind of stuff, all the extra, taking them to school every morning and picking them up every afternoon. Mm-hmm. So it was a real challenge. I would just have to leave the business and go pick up the girls, and then I'd come back and I'd try to take them home. Sometimes they came to the office with me, and then after they could drive, then they had a lot of errands to run for me every day after school, and they didn't like that too much. But it really helped me out a lot. So they really have been in helping almost all their lives. I guess it's kind of like working on a farm. Everybody works together.
We would work in the summer in the office or doing different things to
And on the
help
weekends, if we had certain things that needed to be done for the job, all the girls helped.
But for me specifically, after that, I decided I didn't want to work in the business when I was younger. And I went to college, graduated, got a job. and I was very frustrated at my job. And I have a degree in accounting, so I called my mom one day from my current job and said that how unhappy I was there and that I was looking for a new job. And if she talked to our accountant that does the books for J&J, if they knew of anyone hiring, that I was looking for a new job. And then a couple days later, she called me back and said, well, did you ever think about coming here to work? And I said, well, no, I hadn't really thought about that. I said, yes. And I started on April Fool's Day, 1998. That was my first full day of full-time working at J&J Boring.
I remember Jennifer's situation a little different than she does. I understood that she was not happy where she was, and I said something about coming to work for J&J, and she told me no. I don't want to be involved in the family business. That went on for some time, a year, two. I got a call one day, and she says, you still hiring? I said, naturally. You should have come over here last year. She came, and she had to get involved in the job, learn about a lot of physical stuff that she was not going to do, but she was around it enough to learn how to do the bidding and manage it and stuff. And they both could probably go out and manage a job right now, Jennifer and Josie. But Jennifer started enjoying it, just like I did, except for the people. The jobs were interesting and challenging. That's what made that part fun. But then dealing with people, these people were, some of them didn't want to pay them on time. And that was a constant battle with a new little business starting out.
Yeah, they didn't think that they needed to pay attention to the little guy.
Yeah, and that was the unpleasant part of it. But other than that, most of the fun part was solving the problems on the job.